Hey guys, so I went in over a 17-minute spiel in my last video. If you haven't seen that, I'll leave a link in the description where I kind of spoke about how thankful I am to have my blogs. And I told you guys at the very end where you don't really need discipline to start a blog, or excuse me, you do need discipline to start a blog, but discipline is not something that you want to consistently rely on. And when I say rely, that by nature is oxymoronic, because if I say discipline and I say you rely on discipline, you can't rely on discipline. Discipline is not something to be relied on, it's something to be developed. But at the same time, I think I mentioned something that might have confused people a little bit when I say that with discipline, it's not something that you necessarily engage with all the time. Most people, it's very, very, very difficult to be disciplined consistently. And with blogging, what do you have to do? You have to wake up every day, go to work, live your life, and then maybe at the end of the day, work on that blog post, publish that blog post, and wait for Google to start, crawling it, then index, then hopefully get some traffic over time, then solidify your position on Google, and then start getting more traffic and more traffic and more traffic. And then what happens is during that whole entire period of time, from the moment you hit publish, you're on to the next blog, you're on to the next post, you're on to the next post, you're on to the next post, and so on, right? And something that I mentioned is that the rewiring of the brain. And really what the rewiring of the brain, guys, is, this is, by the way, not my opinion on this. This is not something that I've understood, but I've realized that I have rewired my brain almost subconsciously, and I'll explain what I mean. Every time you create an improvement on your site, you create a blog post, you add a product, maybe you change the color of a banner, or essentially you work on that business. Every time you make a move, you work on that business, right? What you're doing is you're putting money in the bank. You have to rewire your brain to understand this. What most failures don't understand is they don't understand the concept of rewiring, and I'll explain. When they work, what they believe is they're hurting themselves. They're hurting themselves. This is what they believe, right? So they get on the computer, they're frustrated, they're angry that they're not doing well, they're not angry that they're not successful, they're angry that they're poor and they're broke and they don't make enough money and they want to make more money. And with that bad energy, they lack focus, right? They lack interest, they lack creativity, they get into the work, right? And maybe they did a great job with the work, but it's not with positive affirmation. They don't feel positively, right? There's nothing positive about how they feel. And what happens is that over time, every single time they go back to the site, they go back to the business to work on it, they feel negatively towards it. And eventually, over time, as the negativity accumulates, they tend to distance themselves from their business, and they work less and less and less and less on it. And that's just the way it is. And it gets to the point where this is so ingrained within the individual that it's subconscious. It becomes subconscious. They don't even realize that they're doing it. And they'll come up with any excuse not to work. Now, they don't know this consciously. You're right. They don't know this consciously. So you guys might be doing this in your own businesses. I know for sure at one point in my life, I've done this as well, where subconsciously I'm distancing myself from the business. I can make any excuse. Oh, well, I'm making money now, or I'm busy now, or I've been busy these past few weeks, or XYZ, right? And they don't make a consistent effort to get 1% better every single day, right? And what happens is now their brain associates this business with something negative, a pain, uncomfortableness, right? And from a evolutionary psychology kind of standpoint, this hurts you, because the thing that's supposed to make you money, the thing that's supposed to support you or make your dream come to life or buy your freedom financially, you are now associating with negativity, pain, and uncomfortability. And then what happens is not only that business, but every other business you start is going to have the same association. And this is why a lot of people say, well, how do I become disciplined? I'm trying to get into the job. I'm trying to get started. I'm trying to be consistent, but I just can't be consistent. It's because of the rewiring of the brain, right? You have wired your brain to be negatively associating the work that you have to accomplish with your failures, right? So You might be working on your blog for a month, you might see no results, and then guess what? You start the negative association process. And as you associate more and more and more in your brain, what happens? It starts to change from association to now correlation. Something that used to be plastic and mendable is now becoming cemented, right? And that becomes very, very dangerous for people, because what happens is it creates a cycle of failing for a very, very long period of time. And we know that failing is not because of effort, of skill, but it is because of effort. Most people listening to this, like the overwhelming majority, maybe 99.9%, are all smart enough and capable enough to be able to be successful with a blog. They 100%. Every single person listening to this are capable. If you have the knowledge to understand what I'm saying in this video, then you have the knowledge to go out there and create a blog, right? And be successful with it. But what happens is, you are negatively associating the work and the effort required with failure, because you're saying to yourself every single time, man, I'm working, but I'm not getting anywhere. And then what happens, like I said, is you dissociate from the actual work. You separate yourself. You're not doing nearly as much work. You don't even log in to check, things like that. And then you go by 6-7 months later, after a spurt of motivation, and this is why motivation is helpful, but after a spurt of motivation, maybe you saw a YouTube video, maybe you're inspired, maybe you decided you want to get back to it. Whatever the case may be, after a spurt of motivation, your motivation overwhelms your body and negates the negative emotion temporarily. And then you realize on your website that no progress has been formed. You come back and you realize no progress has been formed. And then when you see that, what happens again? It creates the recreation or the negative association all over again, because now you're confronted with the negativity of not having any progress, right? And all this time has passed by, and now you're starting to associate feelings with guilt and things like that. So how can you rewire your brain? How can you rewire it, take your brain back, and take it back from the hijacking, right? Because it's been hijacked. It's been hijacked by negativity. How can you take it back? Well, you have to rewire your brain. And I actually learned this from my dad, because my dad taught me this in school. When I was a very, very young kid, I had all these negative emotions about school, and I didn't perform well at all. I couldn't focus in class, and I hated it. I hated even showing up. I had a bad stomach, a bad feeling in my stomach every single time I would go to school, just going, getting on the school bus, just full of negativity. I hated being there, everything like that. But he started to help me rewire my brain towards success, and I'll explain. And I had really, really bad grades, right? So every little positive thing I would do, right, he would affirm me for that and say, good job, you're getting one step closer, keep going. And he would also remind me all the time that in order to be massively successful, right, these steps are necessary. All the little improvements. This is why I say to you guys, get 1% better every single day. Whether you're adding a product, whether you're changing the way a banner looks, whether you're changing the font of the website, whether you're changing, maybe you're adding to a blog post, maybe you're writing a new blog post, whatever the case may be, you need to get 1% better, and you need to understand and fully understand that every move you make, every step is getting 1% better and start improving. And what happens is, as you start doing this work consistently, in the beginning, you'll see almost no results. But over time, you'll start noticing something. You'll start noticing a small change in your business, whether it be the presentation of it, whether it be the tangible results. It could be income, it could be impressions, it could be clicks, it could be views, it could be whatever it is, whatever statistic you want to use. But when you look at that, you have to realize it and you have to celebrate it mentally. You have to say, wow, this is good. Look at the progress I'm making. You have to tell yourself this. And you have to start rewiring, and you have to associate the more work you do with the success of your business. You have to start associating. And when we say rewiring, we have to unwire the past understanding, and then we have to rewire and reconnect the new understanding or the new ideologies. And the reason why that's important is, like I said, because this is what makes the difference between somebody who, quote unquote, who you see in public has discipline versus doesn't have discipline, right? And I'll give you a perfect example. If I took a spider and I put it on your face, okay, most people, like 99%, would try to slap the spider off their face as fast as they could, right? Why? Because in their brain, they wire the spider with negativity, uncomfortableness. They don't want it. They don't want it by any means. And I don't blame them for it because I'm the same way. But let's say you know those type of people that have like insects as pets and things like that. If you put a spider on their face, they wouldn't worry. They wouldn't freak out. They wouldn't slap it off their face as fast as they could, right? That's because those individuals have rewired the concept of what a spider is to begin with. That's the best example I can give because it's probably one of the most, I guess you could say, internal feelings that somebody has automatically. If I put a spider on you right now, you're going to freak out. You're going to, you're going to try to flick it off your body. Whatever you could do, you're going to make it happen, right? And so when you want to be consistent with your work, then you have to ask yourself, what can I do to rewire my conceptual view? And that's really all it comes down to. All right, guys. So I'll thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon, and peace out. Bye. All right. Have a great day. Keep working on your business, and I'll see you soon. All right. Peace out.